Hello, my name's Tom Walker. Welcome to this podcast. I'm at the Parr Street studio in Liverpool, which is a well-known music venue in the city. And I'm with the Doors Rising, who are also well known as a Doors tribute band. For reasons that will hopefully become apparent, I'm calling this podcast The Doors of Perception. Before they go on stage, I'm going to ask the band to introduce themselves and tell me a little bit about their music.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm the Jim Morrison of the affair.
Martin, guitar.
Wayne, keyboards.
I'm Eve and I play drums.
So guys, the Doors really effectively stopped performing, some 40 odd years ago.
Sure.
What is it about the band that excites you? Why do you keep going with this?
I think it's just something that's pretty pervasive in all music, really. Lots of bands you can track back to the Doors, and it's there's nothing really like them sort of before or since, in my opinion. The whole setup of the band is quite unique. You've got a lead singer who was a kind of a wannabe Frank Sinatra, the guitarist, flamenco-style guitarist, fantastic, Robbie Krieger. The keyboards alone sort of bring the sound to it. No bass player in the band. You've got our excellent keyboard player Wayne, very well carries off Ray Manzarek, keys with the right hand and bass line with the left. And then not to leave the drums till last, because they're a vital ingredient too. The jazz style of John Densmore, or in our case Jane Densmore with Eve, absolutely fantastic. So there's a real unique sound to it, really.
Tell me about your sound. We've just heard there Stuart talking about the sound, Martin.
Yeah.
Describe the Doors Rising sound for me.
It captures the spirit of the age, really, so it's the sound of the late 60s, early 70s, period of radical change in America, social change, the Vietnam War, black rights, so man landing on the moon. And the music exploded at the time, so the VU, the Velvet Underground, were very sort of avant-garde and experimental, and the Doors were fusing classical music, jazz, rock, poetry, everything, and coming up with something new and unique.
Wayne, you've been given quite a mention here, so you better tell us about your role. What do you do? How do you contribute?
It's all lies.
It's all lies. Oh no! Look, I can't afford any libel bills. Okay, so tell me in your own words.
Well, I played the Ray Manzarek role, which that Stu alluded to was primarily organ and piano, but they didn't have a bass player, so I have to do the bass line on my left hand. So basically just trying to recreate that, the authentic organ style of the 60s, the valve organs of Vox and Farfisa, etc., and the wonderful pianos of the Fender Rhodes,
Technology's moved on massively. How easy is it to recreate that sound?
It's well, it depends what you buy. There's obviously the new generation, or the generation of keyboards last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Great sampling capabilities, but the one I use faithfully samples these classic 60s, 70s organs and pianos. So in that sense, we can recreate it. And fortunately, because they're modern instruments, they stay in tune, etc. So that's all good.
I'm glad to hear they stay in tune. Where's she gone? Oh, she's just putting a drink down. So I hope you don't mind me saying, you seem a bit young to be a fan of the Doors.
20.
Yeah, I'm 33. I grew up listening to their music, and I was very inspired by what they were doing, and a lot of music from that era, really.
Okay, so you're the Jim Morrison of this outfit, okay, right? I know a woman who was so devoted to Jim Morrison that her bedroom was a shrine. What is it about Jim Morrison that has this enduring appeal?
I think he was just such a cult figure, you know, at the time and ever since, really. So dying at 27 is, you know, put him on that special list, really, isn't it? So I'm hoping not to join him, of course, and I'm a few years north of that anyway. So, but I think that's the reason. Yeah, absolutely.
What about his lifestyle and his philosophy, his interest in literature?
Yeah, I mean, he was a university graduate and very well read, and you know, beyond music, he was a poet. The guy was just multi-talented at such a young age. It's just something to be really admired. Absolutely amazing.
You got this gig coming up here at Parr Street. What can we expect?
I'm hoping you can expect the doors of perception to be opened, and you'll feel a bit of the 60s recreated. We've been helped greatly by our friends VU, the Velvet Underground, tribute come up from Shrewsbury, our friends, and they've just played their set, absolutely amazing. It went down a storm, everybody loved it, and it really set the tone for what you're about to see with us.
You mentioned the Velvet Underground tribute. I think we have somebody from that band right here.
Hello there, how you doing? My name's Neville.
So, how did your gig go first?
Really, really enjoyed it. Great sound, great response from the audience, and just great fun. Yeah, really good.
I'm guessing you know Doors Rising.
Yes, yeah.
What can the audience expect tonight?
Oh man, everything the Doors did, but just as good, even better. You know, it's good. Great songs, great playing, great musicians. These guys, really good.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone.
To what extent do they manage to imitate the Doors? Are they exact, or are there some differences?
I think there are differences, and I think that's really important because you're playing the music of the band you love. But you kind of play it in your own way, but you're true to yourself, but you're also true to the music as well. I think that's really important.
Well, 3 members of Doors Rising have disappeared. Behind my back, I turned round and they were gone.
Yeah.
Stuart's here still. I hope all goes well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope so too.
I'm looking forward to listening to you.
Thanks very much for coming along, Tom. Absolutely.
I'm going to record some of your music and see whether we can integrate it into our recording. Which track should I listen out for?
Oh, I love them all. It's like picking your favourite child, really. So I don't know. I mean, Light My Fire is probably most people's go-to point, but they're all really good. You'll have to wait and see and pick for yourself, I think.
Well, I can see you twitching to get out there on stage. So go on, off you go. Lovely to meet you all. Thank you very much. Away you go.
Thanks, Tom.